Hello, welcome to this Monday's edition of Share Your Soul, and I'm going to share my screen. While I'm doing that, pardon me, while I'm doing that, I'd love for you to say where you're tuning in from, and next to your name, put if you are a guest or a member or a specialist. Do that for me there in the chat box if you can find it. All right, I gotta find where to put my my view. All right, can you see the screen? The Share Your Soul. Can you see that? All right, just looking for a head nod. All right, we're excited. Stay tuned to the end. We're going to have a giveaway. That's why it's important to go ahead and in the chat box, say that you are a guest or a member or a specialist, and Rose Muffler's keeping track of who's who, so you can be entered into the drawing at the end. And I'll let her tell you what the three things are at the end, what the giveaways are. All right, and we will hop right in. I wanted to start out with a testimony. And
hey, so my name is Kayla, and I just wanted to share a quick message about my experience with Solle Naturals. So before I started taking Solle Naturals,
I didn't mean to do that. I apologize.
Hey, so my name is Kayla, and I just wanted to share a quick message about my experience with Solle Naturals. So before I started taking Solle Naturals, I was in a position where I'd gone through a lot of stress in my life, a lot of change, and I was at a point in life where although I was eating healthy, relatively healthy, I was pretty educated on nutrition, anti-inflammatory, all that stuff. I was very fatigued. I had a lot of what I call brain fog, where no matter how much I slept, no matter how much coffee I drank, no matter how much water I drank, I just felt like I was constantly in this cloud. And I was in survival mode, trying to get from one day to the next. So I actually met my mentor, Satinka, in the process of me going through all of this. And I started taking the herbs. I decided to give them an opportunity. I'm like, well, I have nothing to lose except, my health. And potentially I'm a nurse. I'm like, I could make a mistake at work. I'm having a hard time focusing. So I started taking Vital, Bird Enzymes probiotics. And then I started noticing a difference in my energy level at work. I felt like I recovered quicker after a long day. I felt like I woke up in the morning, I started having a little more energy. My new favorite herb that I added on was cinnamate. That one helped a lot, it seemed, with my bloating. And also just like the energy I felt was more than just like a cup of coffee. I had actually taken a break from coffee, just cinnamate in the mornings, and sometimes in the afternoon if I needed a little pick-me-up. And over time I realized, like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm getting my brain back. Like I felt like I'm more alert. And since then I haven't stopped taking Solle Naturals. I've been taking it every day for the last 3 years now, and it has helped me through this whole pandemic. It's helped me through job changes, life changes, other stressors in life. I would say adaptable. The capsule is one of my favorite things that I take every single day. Yeah, Solle Naturals has definitely changed my life, and meeting my mentor Satinka has also just been a blessing to me.
Well, that was Kayla. That was the first testimony, and I got really excited about doing it. I forgot to also, I'm sure more people jumped on, just welcome you. And I'm sure we're all here for different reasons, whether you were here because you just wanted to learn something new, or maybe you need some encouragement in something you're dealing with, or maybe you just are looking for some answers and hope about a health objective that you have. Or maybe you're just here to observe. Either way, I'm glad all of you are here to be on with us tonight. And if you notice in the chat, everyone's putting in their names, so be sure to do that. And one thing I'll say real quick about Kayla's testimony that I really, it stuck out to me is that, you know, she sounded like she may have been a little discouraged in that she was eating healthy, drinking water, doing all the things that we know to do, but she was still challenged by all those things. So she was looking for something. So the best part is when she did find Soul, she didn't just, you know, start to answer the things she was aware of, like fatigue and stress and brain fog, but she felt like she was recovering quicker after her long nurse days, had energy. And my favorite was just hearing her say she felt like she got her brain back. And I think that's really neat. And some of you know that tonight's topic was the approach of foundational versus symptomatic approach to your wellness. And I like this slide. You know, have you ever done this? Do you ever do this? Do you focus on your whole body, or do you just focus on your symptoms? So there's the first one to consider is the foundational approach. And I love to think about the tree image of this. And, you know, when we are considering our wellness and how to improve, if we take the foundational approach, we have to consider the whole body. We have a mind, we have a body, we have emotions, we have feelings, we have senses. There's so much more to us. And when you consider a tree and you see something wrong with some of the leaves, I mean, there's a myriad of things that could be a problem, but we don't just start chopping away the trees or the limbs. Just like if something were, you know, if I had a headache, you know, you don't just start, okay, what do I take off? The part that hurts from my head? You know, there's things to consider. Do you need a break from your screen time? Do you need to drink some water? You have to think of other things on the outside of you that might be affecting you from the inside. And then the huge value of thinking about how to address your health from the foundation is when you can balance the body, then everything else starts to work together, and that's what we call homeostasis. And you know, you can just deal with so many things when you get to the root cause, and we're not just going to look at, oh, I have a headache, or there's a pain in my knee, or my stomach hurts, and it's just a more, what we call a holistic way when you consider the whole of you. And the other example of what we were talking, the systematic approach looks a lot like this. Doesn't this look complicated and frustrating? I'm sure you've all have seen something similar. You go into a drugstore and there's a bazillion signs, and this unfortunately is a lot how we are taught, that we look for one thing for one thing. And what is sometimes frustrating or confusing is that, yeah, you might just keep treating the same symptom over and over again. And the other thing that happens when you think of just your symptoms is you might not be considering, you know, cause and effect. Like I was saying about the headache, yeah, you could take an Advil, but if you haven't had any water all day, you might still have the headache when the Advil or the pain thing that you took wears off. So you have to consider the outside things that might be affecting what you are dealing with and how you're feeling. And, you know, this day and age in our society, we do tend to look for what is quick and what is fast. You know, if my stomach hurts, go get an antacid to chew on or whatever. But it's like, well, maybe we just overate, or maybe there was something that we had that was just not agreeable. So those are the two ways that many of us can decide in the moment, which way are we going to address our wellness. And is Greg on? I'm looking at the little views and there's like a bazillion little tiles. Okay, I see Greg. Okay, Greg is there. Okay, and so I'll go to the next slide. And you can see from here, you know, the two different approaches and just little snippets of that. But now I would like for you to hear from Greg, because he's more of an expert on this. And Greg, if you could unmute.
You bet, Satinka. Yeah, life has a way of, over time, little by little, I guess if we keep learning, it makes an expert out of us, right? Eventually, we can choose to make ourselves an expert faster by learning, or we can do what, I loved your picture, or we can just keep walking around and kind of do it the slower way, which is try to stamp out all the little symptom messages. I had a good friend that I was listening to last week, and that's the way he refers to symptoms, as messages from your body that something's out of balance. And he used the example of, say you're cooking in your kitchen, something catches on fire, the fire alarm goes off, and you quickly go over to where the cable is to the fire alarm and you cut it so that darn alarm won't bug you anymore, but the fire is still burning. I love that example because it really is kind of what we do. We kind of go over and over and over dealing with symptoms. And what we've seen over the years is the foundational approach is amazing in how it changes our outlook. So I don't know if and I think our next slide here is about adaptogens, right, Satinka?
Yes.
So we choose adaptogens because they're such amazing herbs with particular qualities that help to lead to homeostasis. And that's the word that Satinka used a couple of times. A foundational approach is an approach where we're providing missing nutrients or nutrients needed in larger amounts by the body to get us back into homeostasis. It might be that they're missing from our diet, and it might be that they're not missing. We're just not getting enough of certain things that the body needs to put us right back in balance, pull that inflammation down, the pain goes away, balance the activity of, say, our pancreas, which is helping us digest food and has all sorts of domino effects when that's not working right, or whatever the issue is, because everything is interconnected, like Satinka said. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, the physical processes our body uses every day, they're all connected. And so the big moment for the founding of Solle was the understanding of adaptogens. And I will just say just a couple of things today. They are, as you can see on the slide, studied and known because they bring strength. And I would say strength in two ways. Mm-hmm. Yes, physical performance, meaning that we have we do feel stronger. And I'll just give you an example. When the body is absorbing nutrients right, creating energy the way it's built to create energy, we are physically stronger. We don't have weakness. All of our bodies are amazing in that way. And we also have more length of the use or stamina physically. But both of these words are emotional words as well. Emotional strength or mental strength and emotional stamina or mental stamina are both attributes that are strengthened by adaptogens. And that's why the third point is there. Our stress response has a great deal to do with these factors, because if our body has to go into overdrive because of change or needs in our life, we burn fuel, if you want to look at it that way, our nutrition. We produce chemicals that we don't process and eliminate as easily. In fact, one of the really interesting trainings that I was listening to recently that Dr. Allison gave on Avant Greens, which is another Solle product that contains many adaptogens, is just that whole process that she called trash patrol that keeps things clear and functioning. And it can slow down and nearly stop when we're overwhelmed by by stress. And that leads to all sorts of problems. And we get messages sent by the body that are these symptoms that we go to cover up. And really the root is much more pervasive than just that symptom. So the reason that we're so in love with adaptogens is because they actually deal with the root creation of energy, our ability to absorb nutrients, our ability to convert those into energy, and our ability to keep ourselves open and clean. What we call it's soul clarifying processes that the body naturally wants to do daily. And when we get enough rest at night, adaptogens are wonderful nutrition to help the body in the processes that it was already built to do. But I want to add just one thought to this slide today about adaptogens. None of that would be as powerful if adaptogens didn't have another quality. And I'll just throw out another S word, because you got 3 S words here with the adaptogens: strength, stamina, and stress response, right? I'm going to throw one out. The Chinese use it to classify a number of herbs, among them adaptogens, and they call them superior herbs. What they rate as superior are herbs that include all adaptogens. All true adaptogens would be included as a superior herb in Chinese philosophy, because a superior herb is something that is safe to take daily in the amounts that you need. So stresses are different, our life's all different, our emotions and our feelings, the way we handle stress is different. We have to be able to modulate our nutrition, ramp it up when we need to, right? In the levels that we need. Unfortunately, we're not going to find that through food we buy, because of a myriad of factors, among them how much they're processed, foods are processed. And also the general nutrient depletion in fruits, veggies, and other, like I love the first testimonial. We can be doing the right things and feel like, why isn't this enough? Thankfully, therapeutic plants, particularly safe ones, adaptogens, are loaded with trace nutrients that our body in micro amounts needs to do big things. And so it doesn't take all that much. And the way Soul does it is we put small amounts, but we put concentrated amounts of adaptogens. And when we get this, knowing that they're superior herbs, we have a lot of confidence that we can tell you, take a foundational approach, work with your body, and start small, but don't be afraid to ramp up as you're going through certain health issues and that you might be working with your mentor on. Don't be afraid to ramp up to the levels that meet the need, because it will fluctuate. Your body, you'll learn how you feel on the adaptogens, and over time, there'll be times when you're taking very little, just a little bit of it, or you're rotating them. And there'll be other times when you're like, I'm taking like Cinnamate, I'm drinking like 3 of those a day right now. You'll feel great when the need's great. If you don't feel you need it, you don't need to drink it. So that's the thing I wanted to add. Adaptogens are superior. They're safe, is another word of putting it, for daily use and for multi-level use, where you can level them up to what you need. So Tinka, do we want to talk a little bit about Vital as well today?
Yes, that's your next slide. Thank you.
Let me just mention a few things about the very first adaptogenic formula at Soul. And if this is your first time listening to this, we want you to know many of these Soul products have a story. There are reasons they were developed. Mostly we were trying to fill needs. And we've always tried to look for the last decade. Soul's celebrating its 10th anniversary this Wednesday. Mostly we've been looking at what maybe is different today than a few years ago, and certainly than many years ago. What are typical deficiencies that we see and that we feel in society? What are we going through, and how can we provide products that bolster those? That's why we include adaptogens in all our formulas, as the other slide mentioned. Well, the first one was a very personal formula, because in my own family and my own experience, my wife, who had been familiar with the approach that Satinka showed us, her family from a very young age, I would say from age 10, were very familiar with going in and using multiplicity of over-the-counter and prescription drugs for really, literally some very serious health issues. And it was common to all the women in the family, later, several of the men in her family. And because we had a good friend introduced me to herbs when I was 26, that became part of our life. And a lot of those were replaced with herbs. But we got to a point where a particularly hard time and came into our lives. And that's a story for another time. But these herbs and all these natural things weren't enough. And Donna found herself in a very severe depression, unlike anyone that she'd ever had in her life. And when you live with someone really closely and you see kind of how they're, even if they're really strong like she is, and they can put on a great face and do a ton of things, even in the middle of it, but you know how hard it is and how deeply they're hurting. It is not something that is fixed overnight. That journey with us is what led us to adaptogens. A long story short, I happened to be, not coincidentally, around someone who had been through a severe situation, who had discovered some herbs that they didn't know included adaptogen. They had several adaptogens. We tried those. Donna brought those into her regimen. And because we saw a change, we started to look more heavily into what adaptogens are and what they were. The result of that whole experience was putting together our first formula, which we put in drink form and called Soul Vital. In capsule form, it was referenced by our testimonial, our first testimonial today. It's called Adaptable, because 1/3 of the formula is purely 6 very, very, I would say, what's the word? Very highly published and highly studied adaptogenic herbs. And then the rest of the formula is high mineral containing herbs and high chlorophyll containing herbs. So the Soul Vital drink contains all 3 of those elements. The capsule is more focused on just the adaptogens. It is a great add-on for someone who might be starting and just getting going. We so many times see a really productive journey begin with drinking Soul Vital. And then when emotional imbalance is the thing I'm going through right now, adding Adaptable is wonderful. Why does that work? Well, I kind of mentioned this with the adaptogens. They play a role in all these processes, the body's ability to bring in nutrients and convert them to energy, the body's ability to keep itself clean and functioning unobstructed. Anything that I believe this personally, anything that we do physically, the parallel is there emotionally and mentally as well. So if it's going to keep things clear and unobstructed physically, we also are going to help ourselves do that mentally, because there is a direct correlation there. And then thirdly, strengthening our stress response so that when we encounter just life, it doesn't hit us so hard and we don't walk through it so difficultly. In fact, there's much more strength in us to walk through that kind of in a way that it's never going to be without some hassle at times, right? And a little bit of hurt, but in a productive way where we see ourselves stronger and moving forward. So Soul Vital has all those elements. It has elements that detox and keep us clean, that pull inflammation down and alkalize and take the acid nature that is so common to all of us because of sugar and soda and stress and red meat cake. You could probably throw in a few other things that make us acidic. Acid means inflammation and pain. And it means all sorts of other things. The Soul Vital actually works to the balance of all of that. Then recovery and balancing and the production of energy can happen. Because the other happens in Soul Vital, then those last 3 elements, recovery and balancing and energy, can happen. And we just do it more efficiently. So Soul Vital is where it all started. It is the quintessential foundation drink. And we're talking about it today because, well, this is 10-year anniversary. This is Soul Vital's 10-year anniversary. In fact, I'll give you just one pro tip here, not because I'm a pro, but because you'll be a pro if you take advantage of this. Don't miss Wednesday night, because there's more to say about Soul Vital, and we'll have some neat opportunities there. But Soul Vital to me is something for everyone, something for every individual. Every individual can be better and can achieve better results with Soul Vital as a core and foundational nutrient. Okay, Satinka, back to you.
Thank you, Greg. Yes, there's obviously we can jam pack this meeting full of all the cool stuff about the herbs, right? So to sum up a few of them is, I like to think of this control the controllables because I first heard it from Dr. Allison, and where we talked about that foundational approach to improving our health is, you know, control the things you can. Sometimes we can't completely remove our stress, but we can control the things that help us deal with the stress. And you know that while we have supplements that can greatly help, you still have to eat, you still have to sleep, you still need to move your body and exercise, you still need to take breaks and go outside. You know, there's so many things that we can do, and a lot of us know what those things look like. So control the things you can. Soul definitely makes that easy in the many things that they have available to us. And you know, considering all the areas of your health, you know, as I mentioned, exercise and sleep, and even sometimes down to the different stressors we have. If there's, you know, a situation you're coming up against, how can you prepare for that thing? Whether it's a conversation that might be hard with someone, or, you know, you're going to have a long day, how can you prepare for that? Because you need to consider your whole self. How will you feed yourself? How will you sleep the day before to prepare for that? And using your herbs before it always helped too. And the other thing that, you know, when we talked about the symptom approach to your wellness, you know, we all know it's okay. Most of us started there where we're looking for a quick fix, but with the foundational approach, consistency is huge. And the time that it takes, we can't calculate that, but it definitely, those are huge. Time and consistency are very important to finding the improvements you're looking for. And there is a soul program for everyone. You know, Greg talked about Vital. You heard some things that Kayla talked about, and there's something for everyone. And we just always tell you in these gatherings to make sure that you talk to the person who invited you, because they care enough about you that they would love to see you get what you need to take care of yourself. And so now I would like Bonnie to share her testimony about her experience with a soul program. Can you unmute yourself, or do you want me to do it?
So I started taking the Solle Naturals some months ago, and I kind of had trouble with anxiety, and it's a lot more than anxiety. I am a single mother of 4 children, you know, so I work and just do everything. I'm sure you can imagine the type of responsibilities and kind of just everything that you're doing all at once. I have multiple people talking at once pretty much 100% of the time, unless they're all asleep even. So I think stress and anxiety really ate at me a lot of the time. I mean, I would kind of come out of the grocery store and cry just because I couldn't, it was just all so much. And I took the Solle Naturals, and it's really helped me just focus better, to have, I don't know, just more confidence to do the things that I need to do too. I'm also taking classes, and I can't tell you the amount of, you know, juggling that's involved in my life, just in a normal day. So it really helps with all of that, just even retaining information. You know, I feel like when we're stressed, and this is something, especially if we're depressed, if we're really depressed, we don't realize that it also affects our memory. And so trying to learn new things, or trying to, you know, remember what paper your kid needed to do, or, you know, because they're not going to do it themselves, of course. As mothers, I don't think teachers realize we're doing or helping them through the homework like 90% of the time too. So I think as a mother of 4 and someone who was suffering from anxiety, depression, and stress, it just really helped me kind of pull myself out of that, make new steps to, take control of what was going on around me instead of being so affected by it, which is something that's so easy to do, to feel overwhelmed, you know. And yeah, I highly recommend it to anybody. It doesn't matter how huge your responsibilities are or what level of stress you're working with on a daily basis. It just helps.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Bonnie.
Mhm.
I loved hearing how you are being so ambitious. It's like you still have all these things on your plate, but yet you have, dreams and aspirations. And how you said it feels like it was able to pull you out of somewhere where it probably sounded like you felt kind of stuck in that place, and goodness, to come out of the grocery store. Sad that's
Yeah. Well, actions instead of reactions, it makes a huge difference.
yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you.
All right, next slide. All right, so again, just to consider what we have gone over, again, control the things that you can control, and using the blends by Soul really, really is an easy way to control the controllables, because, I think it's more difficult to make a list of don't do X, Y, and Z. And I feel like it's easier sometimes to add in something simple, so that once you start feeling better, then you'll probably go for more walks, or you might make better food choices, or better, you might sleep better and have more energy for the next day. So Soul definitely makes that a lot easier. All right, so I'm going to share my story real quick. And just because sometimes it's a little easier for me to read, forgive me, I'm going to read. All right, that picture in the middle, 2015, that's me, part-time remote bookkeeper, full-time babysitter, and homeschooling 4 kids. I needed naps when the toddler napped, and I'd make sure my oldest had his assignments. And while I turned on Blue's Clues for the 2 kinder kids, I had to take a nap. So many days I felt like I was moving in slow motion. I had no idea this pregnancy would be so tough, but do we ever? I was barely able to eat. I wasn't gaining the desired weight, and I even began losing weight. This concerned the doctors and frankly worried me. On top of that, I was struggling with severe pain in my mouth, and I was foggy-headed often. I was fighting extreme fatigue and quite the emotional mess with all kinds of digestive woes. No details needed. Do you know what it feels like to be out of control of your emotions? I avoided everything from the grocery store and even talking to people at church. I was either crying or taking something personal or yelling over the silliest things all the time. I heard my friend Lisa Tucker was on a health journey, and I reached out to her and I told her about all the physical things that I had been dealing with, but I never mentioned any of the mental health things, because I watched what my mom went through with mental health, and it was bad enough that at one time my brothers and I were taken away from her for a season. I never shared that with anyone before, and it wasn't going to now. I was afraid of being seen as an unfit mother. The first thing Lisa did was listen to me. She considered all of me. She didn't start naming what I had wrong or suggesting one thing for one thing. She actually was able to relate to some of what I was going through and shared with me what was helping her. Diet and supplements were a huge part of that. So she gave me a simple soul program that I used daily, and I started to have relief in my body in just a few days. The coolest part is that even after delivering my daughter and through breastfeeding, I still used my herbs and adjusted the foods I ate, and I was still feeling better, like more better, if that's a thing. 6 months later, my husband was still watching me change all of our food and use these soul things. And he says, your fuse is a lot longer. Two things happened here. One, I was able to think about what he said. And two, I cracked a wise comment back and I said, you try hanging out with 4 small kids and a teenager all day and see how long your fuse is. And he was right though, because I was able to respond. I was able to think clearly about everything around me. So why do I have a picture of 2008? That's just a timestamp of when I truly began to believe that all of my mental and physical challenges were hereditary because of my mom. I really thought that was it. And I felt pretty trapped and discouraged over that. Okay, so fast forward to that picture in 2020. I'm still homeschooling. I didn't quit. I even started my own co-op during the pandemic. I'm still babysitting and I'm still sharing my soul story so I can help others while contributing to our family's financial picture. It's okay if you came tonight just looking for one thing, but you're far more complex and wonderful. You were designed with the ability to heal. So soul really helped me find that in myself and in others. And so that's my story. And this is really special to me. I have one more question for Greg. And I just think it's just really, really valuable and speaks to a big sentiment that's special to me in soul is, why, Greg, did you choose network marketing to share soul?
Because of mentors like you, Satinka. That's my short answer. So I guess I'm at 31 years now since that friend invited me to natural health. And I've always been around a mentor structured approach versus just buying it in the store. And I've been to a lot of stores, part of research and my travels over the years, where someone just hands you a bottle and sends you away. It's kind of the natural version of the symptomatic approach that you described. But a mentor is exactly what you do to other people and what Lisa did for you, listens, and is still going to be there when I get to say, hey, this week it's this, or here's what I'm feeling after a few days. That to me is so powerful. We did have a friend with our first 5 formulas who has been on the retail side of a very large natural product company. You'd recognize the name. Tried to convince us to just put it in all the big stores. And we didn't even think about it for the reason that you just, really that you shared in your testimonies. Network marketing to me is, you know what? I kind of call it mentor marketing because it's really constructive friendship related marketing. And it's just us learning and helping each other. Everything we learn, we try to pass on. We don't want to stay with any of it. I want you to hear it. That's why just tell Lisa, that's why I talk so much. Because I don't want to stay with anything I hear from anyone else that's good. I want everyone to have everything I've heard, because I figure you'll be able to use it even better than I can. And if it changes lives, because I think we all need it at different places of our life, then that's where I feel happy. That's my happy space. I know it's yours. And I know it's the other leaders too. So that's the reason, Satinka.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, where would many people who are here on this call be without that? It's no fun just going to a store and hiding behind the shelf. You don't want anyone to see what you're looking at, like which symptom you're in. Like, don't look, I'm in the stomach issues one, like you don't want anyone to know. But that's where I just love what we do. So, okay. Thank you for staying with us to the end. I think we should hear from Rose now for the fun part. Well, another fun part. Rose, are you there?
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to hit all these different buttons from my phone. Just give me 1 second because I think a few people were chiming in. Let's see. Wonderful. Okay. Do you guys know we have 13 states represented on this call right now? So amazing. I see all these different places. It's incredible. And Rose is in the house. What's up, baby? I am so happy to be here. And we are so excited to give away some amazing prizes for you. We have the best company in Solle Naturals that rewards us just because we're on these calls and really hearing from Greg, hearing from Satinka, hearing from Kayla, hearing from Bonnie. Oh my gosh, those stories. I didn't know I needed tissue, Satinka. I've known Satinka a long time. And oh my goodness, every time I hear from that girl, I am just moved. We have such an amazing group of people on this call. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. We have some prizes. We have the Royal Glass bottle. Raise your hand if you have that amazing bottle. I have not yet got that. It's on my list, but we are going to give that away. I have the old-fashioned bowl here. And so that prize is going to go to Roberta. You just chimed in right on time. And so Roberta, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay. Please reach out to whoever invited you and they will get you your prize.
Thank you.
Roberta, where are you from real quick? Where are you from?
I'm from Portage, Indiana.
Indiana, woohoo. Yay, awesome. Okay, our next prize is going to be our green Soul Vital metal bottle. That bottle is amazing. It stays cold for hours and it's incredible. So that prize is going to go to Michelle, who is on your iPhone. It said Michelle iPhone. So Michelle, you are our winner of our green bottle. If you're on here, just let whoever know that invited you that you won a prize. Way to go. And then our very last one is our blue infatuate shaker. That shaker is amazing because it has a little bottom portion to keep your capsules. That bottle is incredible. It's so incredible that I lost it somewhere. I used to have that bottle and now someone's enjoying my infatuate bottle. I don't know where it's at. But that prize goes to Cindy Bueno from Atwater, California. Cindy, congratulations.
That's my sister Rose. She's the one who invited me. Woohoo!
Yay, your sister Rose. I love that name. What a beautiful name your sister has.
Wow,
but
Rosa.
congratulations. Congratulations.
Cindy,
yeah.
Can you give Rose's blue bottle that you took back now since you won this one?
Yes, please.
I'll give her whatever she wants. She's my sister.
Oh, yay. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you guys. That is all for our prizes. Again, we meet here every Monday and there's so much amazing learning that we do as a soul family. So if you have any guests or members, if you're a specialist member and want to invite guests on our next week's call, that would be amazing. So Satinka, I'm going to give it back to you. But good night, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rose. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Winners. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate your time so much. And
My pleasure.
all right, tune in next week and see what we got. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.